All right, welcome back to siding part 3. We've done the left side of the house. The um, we've done the right side of the house, and I realized after I did it, I never cut out that window that's right here in front of the garage. So we're going to need to do that. So here's how we're going to do that: is hover over that part. You can either do it from the browser. It should be down towards it's like the last part that we did, probably right there. I prefer to get things from the browser. That way I'm not accidentally choosing something else. I'm going to right click that and we're going to edit in context and edit in context 1. And that will bring this part up. And now this is going to be a little bit tricky. I might have to, I think I'm going to sketch on this surface again. So we're going to sketch on a flat surface. So make sure you choose not that thing's at an angle, but one of these larger flat surfaces. Okay, and that brings us up to this. Now, this might be a little bit tricky because I need to project where those edges are. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the part or make the part not visible. So just trust me, this is going to work. We're going to hide the part, okay? And then we're going to project. Now we got to look carefully. I might even need to tilt it a little bit. There we go, to see where those window parts are. We're going to have to zoom in and out. And make sure we're kind of tilting things so we catch the right thing. So we're going to use and project. We're going to get those little corners right there, like that dot. Now I'm going to move around so I get the other side. You have to learn how to zoom in and out. I'm going to get that corner right there. Not sure why it's showing 2. Oh, because it's projecting it outward. Oh, because it's projecting it out onto the plane. We're going to scroll, find that point right there because it's offset 3/4 of an inch outward. And finally zoom in around so we see this corner right there. All right, now we can get back to square. We can turn back on this. Now it looks weird because that stud's way back in the back. So we can go ahead and draw our lines before we turn the part back on. From there to there, there. Could have drawn a rectangle. That probably would have been faster. But I already started. All right, and now we can turn back on the part. Okay, and we are now going to extrude. Oops, let's finish the sketch. And extrude that last sketch, and we're going to remove it. And I believe if we say we're going to go through all, it will go just through this whole part and not through other things. And there we go. We've got now our window over there. All right, now we can go to assembly, and we're looking good with that window over there. All right, now I'm ready to do the garage. And I think I'm going to do the garage in one big piece. So I'm going to explain how I'm going to do that in just a moment. So here we go. We're going to do one sketch to do all of it. And then we're going to do some cutouts and such. So let's go ahead and make our make connector that we need to start a part studio. We're going to zoom way into the peak, that peak right there, not out here on the roof, but this peak right here on the garage. And let's, before saying okay, if you hover over this, you get a little edit button, and we're going to call that garage peak. Let's call it garage roof peak, so I remember what that is. Okay, say okay, and now we're going to start a new part studio on that entity. and check mark everything. Now will fade away just like it has been before. And we're going to start on the plane that is parallel to that end, which is that one right there. So on the top view, we're going to start a new sketch. Okay, and we're going to start drawing the parts that we need for the siding. Now this siding made a little triangular shape here. This one we're going to go straight up. So just like before, we're going to use some points. So I'm going to use some points and some lines. I'm going to go ahead and use this line over here on the outside and this line over here on the outside. Now we're going to also get this point down here and this point down here. We're going to draw a line just below that because remember our siding comes down a little bit below the bottom plate. So we're going to hover down. I'm going to come down from there so that I'm straight down and go across to the other side. I'm going to again hover over that and come straight down and wait until I'm both parallel and vertically aligned with the point above it. And now I'm going to dimension that as 1 inch, same as what we did on the house. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and use some other stuff. Use or project. I'm going to scroll and I'm going to get the bottom part of the roof decking on each side. Okay, and now we need to just draw some lines to enclose everything. So from there on up, L, by the way, will get you to make a line. And I need to enclose down here, from there to there. And same thing on the other side, and then it should turn gray from there to there. Good. All right, so that means I can extrude that. Now, I'm not done yet because before I extrude things, I want to go ahead and make it so that I can draw. I'm drawing in the side profile of the siding that's going to go down the sides. So here's how this is going to work. Well, first I have to use some edges. So we're going to zoom way into here and I'm going to use that edge and same thing on the other side and that edge. All right, now I want to come with a line from the very, very, very bottom corner. We're going to draw a line out that is 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. Okay. And then we're going to come up from there, straight up, make sure it's perfectly vertical until we hit that line up here. Good. And that should make a little gray enclosed area there also. Whoa, I don't know what I just did. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Mirror image, we're going to go this way for 3/4 of an inch and up straight, making sure it shows as straight. There we go. I want it to be vertical and show the coincident constraint. And good. All right. Now we're ready to finish our sketch. We're going to do 3 extrusions out of this sketch. Here we go. First extrusion is going to be the major sketch that this area without the little ones on the side. So we're going to extrude. We're going to do that main area right there. We're going to go outward away from the house 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. Good. Now we can go deal with these parts later. We can always also make it just one part. That's fine. That'll be easier that way anyway, even though that's not the way it is in the real world, but that's okay. We're going to turn back on our sketch now. Okay. And now we're going to extrude the other two sides. Extrude. You know, before I extruded that, I'm going to change my mind here for a second. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to delete this extrusion. Just trust me. Change my mind. Go along with me and just delete the extrusion. Let's go back to Sketch 1 and edit it. Double click. And I want to make those windows. So kind of the same way we did that earlier one. I'm going to use and project this. Could just use the lines, but I really prefer to know for sure what I'm getting. I don't want to accidentally get another line, so we're going to do that. You know, technically we could just do two. In fact, let's do that. Let's just do opposite corners because we can just draw rectangles. There we go. Now we're going to draw a rectangle, 2-point rectangle from that point to that point, and from that point to that point. Good. All right, finish sketch. Now let's extrude where we've got the windows. So, good. There. It's hard to see. Okay, extrude. Now we're going to extrude just around the windows, and again, 0.75. All right, cool. Now we got to turn back on the sketch, and we are going to extrude those little guys on the end. Whoops, I meant to turn back on the sketch. Why is the sketch not on? There we go. All right, so I'm going to extrude. Now you have to zoom way in. There, I might have to measure first. No, I can say up to face. All right, so we're going to go here. And I'm going to also go to the other side and choose that little rectangle on the other side also. Now we're going to go the opposite direction. Let's go ahead and make sure it's adding it. I'm going to make it all one piece, and that's fine. And we're going to choose to go, instead of, we're going to go up to a face. Now, the face I want to go up to is this face. I don't want to go up to the face of the plywood. I'm going to actually kind of merge them together. So we're going to go up to there. Okay. And it should be okay. If you have a problem, you might have to say, I want my merge scope to be with part 1, because look how it's wanting to make, it's wanting to make new. If you hit add, yeah, it wants me to get a merge scope. So I'm going to say, I want to add merge scope with part 1. And it should, since it's connected to those. I don't want to make those the same part. Okay, fine. Let's just say new. If you're having the same problem I am, we can just say let's make new ones. And we'll do it that way, and we'll make them all new parts. I want to try something before we move on here. All right, I'm going to try and merge these together by using what's called Boolean. Let's try that. So up here is this thing called Boolean, and we're going to union things together, and we're going to try and union those 3 parts, and let's see if it does it for us. Won't let me do it. I'm not sure why that's happening that way. I mean, the pieces should be connected together, so I don't know why. Oh, I know why. Okay, folks, when I make a mistake, you make a mistake. So I know how to deal with this. We're going to do one more extrusion. So let's get rid of this Boolean. Technically, we call that a knife edge paradox, where those 2 corners are coming together in the 3D modeling world. That doesn't really work. Okay, let's do another extrude then. We've still got Sketch 1 turned on. Okay, so we're going to extrude again. And this time, I know what I need to do. I'm going to extrude that face right there. And and then to the other side. And this face right here, those little edges, and we're going to bring them forward, that make sure the arrow is pointing outward 3/4 of an inch, the same thickness. And go ahead and add it instead of, and our merge scope is going to be with part 1. Okay. All right, now we've got a normal corner. All right, now I should be able to Boolean those, part 1, part 2, part 3, or actually they'll join together as you click on them, and we say, okay. And now we're all one part. Now, let's rename this as part as garage siding. All right. Now, normally I would like for these corners to match up, but they may or may not, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time dealing with that. If this was a real house and we were really building it, we would want to make sure that those grooves lined up in the corners, because it looks a lot better that way. When they're off a little bit, it just looks bad. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Maybe we'll do the math to figure it out, but we'll see how it looks. And if we want to come back and do that again, we can do it. I'm going to cut out the garage door last, and I'm going to cut out the other side door out of here at the end. So we'll make our siding first. And also we're going to put a vent up there in the top. All right. So we'll do that last. So here we go. Let's start with the side, and we'll see how that goes. So we're going to go ahead and sketch on this front surface right here. Right click, say I want a new sketch. N for normal. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to turn off sketch 1 just because I don't want it in my way. We're going to do the same thing we did on the house. Draw yourself a little triangle with a line. Okay, we're going to make a right triangle that goes out 1/4 of an inch, 0.5, and then down till you hit that. And then we use the dimension tool, as we've done before, to dimension this to this as an inch. Okay, and finally, from the bottom, we're going to dimension from the bottom to this. Come on. I'm not sure why it doesn't like me. Let's try that again. I guess my dimension tool was not as 5. Now, I might go back and adjust this if we want to line that up, and let's see, and we'll see how it goes. But for now, let's keep it that way. And we will say, okay, good. Actually, let's do that same thing on the other side. I'm going to show you a little trick. We're going to find the midpoint. There it is right there of this part. And we're going to draw a little line up there. Let's go back into sketch 2. I just shouldn't have gotten out of it. And I'm going to draw a little line from the midpoint. See that little square that shows up? I'm just going to draw a line upward. It doesn't have to be that long. We're just using it to mirror. Okay, and now I'm going to take this shape, drag a box around it. I'm going to mirror those lines to the other side. Mirror. Select my mirror line is that. Select entities to be mirrored. I should have, oh, I already did. There they are. Okay. And we should be able to just hit escape and it will stay there. Good. All right, now we're ready to do our extrude. So we're going to finish sketch 2. We're going to extrude both of them at the same time. Extrude that little shape. And come over, way over here. Zoom way in, way out. Let's do that shape. We're going to remove it. Okay. And don't forget what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go blind. And we're going to go, let's go ahead and go up to face. I think that should work. Up to face. I'm going to choose that face. Now, because we haven't cut anything else out yet, we can go ahead and do it that way. And good. Now, let's see how we're doing with our, well, I won't know until I pattern it. So I'm going to go ahead and pattern this extrusion, and then we will see how we're doing with lining up. So let's go ahead and do our linear pattern. We want to do a feature pattern of this extrusion. My direction I want to go is upward, and we want our distance to be 5, and our instance we can just do, let's start, I'm going to go edit this. So let's start with like 4 or 5 of them, and we'll deal with that in just a moment. All right, so I'm going to finish that for a second. We're going to do some measuring, and we're going to come back and deal with this. So what I want is I'm going to make this piece really small down here on the bottom because I need to move this point edge down to that edge. Okay, and we're going to see there, we'll get a minimum distance from there to there, and that is how much we're going to subtract out. So we're going to make that bottom piece really skinny, and that's okay. So here we go. Let's hit the measure tool. Let's see how far is it from that. Whoops, that's not what I meant. Okay, let's try that again. Measure tool from there to there. Should give us a, let's move me out of the way, should give me a minimum distance of 3 inches. Okay, so that works out. So I'm going to go back and change that 5 to 3 so that they do line up. Here we go. Measure tool. So I'm going to go back into my sketch. Click out of there. Sketch 2. Double click on that to edit it. And let's change that 5-inch distance to 2. Finish sketch, and now what we should see is these things lining up, which they do. Down here is a little different, but that's okay. It's generally going to look good. Now let's go back to our linear pattern. Double click, and we are going to increase our number of instances until there are no red ones. So 24 it looks like. Cool. All right, now we're ready to do the very far right side. We'll cut out some holes, and then we're ready to go. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to sketch on this side over here. So you're going to choose a big flat surface like that. Say I want to start a new sketch. Okay. And for normal to bring us sideways to that. And we're going to zoom in, and we're going to use what we already have right here because we know we need to come in 1/4 of an inch and down, right? So use a line. We're going to hook up to that point right there, come in, click, and say I want that to be 0.25, and then down to that point right there. So we've made that little triangle. And now we can extrude, finish sketch, extrude. Now this time we're going to have to not do blind. We're going to have to do, or we are going to do a blind. Won't let me choose that. Okay, I know what's happening here. I'm going to exit out of that. Let's go back and edit sketch 3. And the one thing I needed to do, I didn't do, is I needed to connect this to that with a line. There we go. Now we've got an enclosed profile. Because this is at an angle, it didn't have a flat surface there. So good. Now we've got something that we can extrude that. And we're going to remove, and our depth, just go, let's call it 500 inches. And that's good. All right. Now we're going to say good. We're going to now go ahead and pattern that extrusion. Linear pattern. We want a feature pattern. We're going to choose this last extrusion that we did. The direction is going to go some line that goes upward. I want my distance to be 5. And I want my number of instances to be whatever they are. Okay, now in this, it's red, you need to hit apply per instance, and it should be fine once we do that. And because we're doing this a blind distance, we should be able to go through and keep going all the way up, I sure hope. And keep going until there's a red one. And once there's a red one, we're going to back off. It wants to keep going. I think my computer's being a little slow here. So it's going to be 37, it looks like. There we go. 37 of them. Gets you your siding. Cool. All right. Now, if you remember what color you made it, I would go ahead and go color that and edit appearance. Mine is that green. No, that is not the right green. Oh, maybe it is. It'll turn that green when this is all faded out. All right, last things, we're going to cut out our door. So our garage door and our door on the other side. So we need to go ahead and let's start a sketch. We're going to choose a flat surface here so we can cut out our door. Let's go ahead and turn off the visibility of the part so that we can see in here. Now, this one's going to be a little bit tricky because we are down, right? So I need to use, I'm going to go ahead and choose use. I'm going to choose this corner of the, now notice remember it's projecting that out. That's why it looks weird, like there's two of them. So I'm going to choose that down there. I'm going to choose this point right here. Same point on the other side, and then the line down here. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and finish this sketch. Now, I don't believe this will affect other parts. I can turn this back on. And I've got those points, and I should be able to just draw, oops, I need to go back to the sketch. Sorry, I shouldn't finish the sketch. And I should end for normal. Notice my view cube has changed, so I can't really use the view cube. So I'm going to do a corner rectangle from that corner down to that. So again, I guess I didn't need to draw everything. Finish sketch. Now, we don't want to go all the way through it. We only want to go 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to extrude. Let's extrude that sketch we just made. We're going to remove 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. And it should give us our garage door opening. Excellent. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out our door. Actually, the last thing we'll do is we'll make a vent. But now we need to cut our door out. So one more. Sketch. Flat surface over here. N for normal. Use this perpendicular. We're going to turn off the siding and we're going to put in this. Now on this one, I'm going to come down here to the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 4 points. But I'm actually going to come down. Oops, I need to use. Let's go ahead and use lines this time. From here, here, and the top of the doorway. All right. Now that's good enough for now. I'm going to go ahead and turn back on my siding so I can see. And I need to just draw a rectangle. Now watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to hook up to this point, drag my rectangle down. Now I'm just going to go out beyond the siding a little bit, but I'm going to make sure I'm straight down from that other point. As long as I'm outside of it, I'm going to cut through all of it. Good. Finish our sketch. And now we're going to extrude that last sketch we made. Sketch 5, remove, and I'm going to remove 3/4 of an inch points at a time. All right, looking good so far. One last thing to do, folks, and then we're done with the garage siding, is to put that vent up there. So we're going to make an 18 by 24 vent, just like we did on the house. Because that's what's going to look best if they're all kind of the same. So we sketch on a flat surface on the end, and for normal, let's make a line that is a construction line, just like we did last time. That is from that little peak right there, going down 12 inches. Okay, so we get ourselves a spot to hook to. Now, I'm going to draw myself a rectangle somewhere way up here, just so it doesn't accidentally hook to other things. That is 18 by 24. And we will do what we did before with the, I have to put a point at the midpoint here, and then a coincident constraint between that point and that point. Good. And finally, the last thing we will do before taking a picture is extrude. We're going to remove. We're going to choose sketch 6. For me, it's sketch 6. Yours might look a little different, and we're going to cut out 0.75. And good. All right, let's insert. Go to assembly. What do I want to insert? I want to insert that one part. And we're looking like we got a house. All right, so zoom out like this so we can see that your garage siding is done. Take a picture of that puppy, and next class we'll do the side walls and make some windows. All right. Hope it was fun. See you next time.